Hello everyone, this is Food is a Conversation Alumni Edition, session 72. We are introducing our alumni, our ecosystem members who attended any of the educational programs what the Future Food Institute organized so far over the past almost a decade actually. And while I'm waiting for, basically, as you heard, this is already session 72, so we interviewed already 71 of them. Hi Caroline.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you, Julia?
Very good, very good. I just quickly finished the intro so that our audience knows what exactly are we talking about over the next 20 to 30 minutes. And then we jump right in.
Perfect.
So basically, we have different educational programs, let it be the Food Innovation Master Program, different summer schools, and now the Food and Climate Shaper boot camps, both in person and digitally, where we equip the future workforce of the food system to work towards a more resilient food future. And we actually just concluded the third edition of the digital bootcamp this last Sunday. And so I have approximately 40 more people lined up to be interviewed on these sessions. So we have a lot of catch up to do. So it will be a very casual conversation. You will hear more about Caroline and the food system issues she's trying to solve at the moment. And yeah, so I encourage everyone to please post your questions in the chat if you have any. If you don't have the time to stay with us the entire time, no problem. The conversation will be posted on IGTV right afterwards. So now, without any further ado, Caroline, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you are dialing in from and how did you end up on the digital bootcamp last winter?
Awesome. And I just wanted to say hi to Charity. I see one of the women who's going to be starting the program with us in May is tuning in, so I'm really happy she's here. Charity, if you want to ask some questions or send a comment anytime would be awesome. Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for joining. My name's Caroline, as Julia said, and I'm the founder of the Association for the Integration of Women, which is a nonprofit organization in Modena, Italy. And it's the first nonprofit in Modena that has a focus on migrant women's economic integration. So really harnessing the potential and the ambitions of these women and creating value, creating careers, and sharing also the cultural capital and the human capital that these new arrivals to Modena can bring, especially through their food. So I joined the Future Food Institute Digital Bootcamp last year, actually thanks to Chris from Migrants, Chris Richmond, the founder of Migrants in Bologna. He has an amazing project, and I was really discussing his project and getting some advice from him because we just started last April. We're a youth-run organization, and so it's really awesome for us to be able to connect with people who we admire, learn from their best practices. And so I was telling Chris all about what we were hoping to do, and he said, oh, why don't I sponsor you and Jessica, your culinary director, to join this boot camp? I think it'll really help you not only to learn, but to get connected with another group of passionate people that can support you guys. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, Jessica is someone who is also lined up to become interviewed very soon here. So tell me, what do you think has been the most beneficial thing what came out of the boot camp for you?
Yeah, so for me, there's a few things actually. So first, kind of the course on ecosystemic thinking for me, I think was a game changer. And it's something that I've heard mentioned many times since the boot camp. So it's just once you kind of continually hear something, it's like, okay, I need to keep going in this direction. And so yeah, during the course, we were asked to map out our ecosystem. So who we work with, who are our stakeholders, who's affected by our work, and just really reframing the mentality to understand how you can reach out and work with these actors in everything you do in different ways. So that's been helpful for me, and that was like reiterated in January when I was part of this United Nations major group for children and youth. They also talked about that, specifically how important it is for nonprofits to work with all sectors, so the civil society, other nonprofits, private, public. And so I really thought a lot about that going forward. And then some other things, I guess the best outcomes were making connections with some really amazing people that hopefully we're going to be developing collaborations with this year. One of those people was in my challenge group, Yvonne Fung, the founder of Check Tech. We're looking at some really interesting technology solutions that can be developed to help women here in Modena. I'm also in contact with Nancy, who's doing amazing work trying to launch a nonprofit for women in Zambia. And then, of course, the connection with the Future Food Institute itself that we hope we're going to be doing some events with this summer.
Wow. So just a bit of a spoiler about these events in the summer. So people, if they are in Bologna, they might be meeting you and your program members. Am I correct?
Yeah, so typically, you know, our program that we're hoping to launch later this year is also a restaurant. So our women would be able to share their cuisine with the Modena community. But because of COVID, the restaurant hasn't been able to open, but we still want to create these occasions where girls like Charity can share Ghanaian recipes that we know everybody is going to be completely obsessed with. So we're hoping that this summer in Bologna, we'll have a few of these things at Scuderia. So yeah, absolutely be on the lookout. People can come by, try some jollof rice and other things and speak to our women.
Amazing. So this is the point where I think we cannot let the audience wait longer. Can you please explain what your association does? Why did you start it? And what is the program, what then the members are going through with you to economically integrate them in their community, which is in this case Modena?
Yeah, of course. So the Association for the Integration of Women well, I came up with the idea a couple years ago because I met this woman, Ella. She is a refugee from Nigeria, but you know, when I met her, she was just another girl my age. We were both 25 at the time, speaking English, and I had just arrived to Modena, so I was excited to hear someone speaking English. And so we developed a friendship, and she shared with me that she'd been in Italy for 3 years. She came because she wanted to be the first woman in her family to work. She wanted to continue her education. So she's an ambitious person. And she hadn't been able to establish herself in 3 years because she couldn't get the certifications or training that would help her take the next step. There was a language and cultural gap that was making it hard for her to do some of these other trainings that were available already in Modena. So we started to develop a project basically that would think about what jobs someone like Ella could do with a pretty minimal level of training that we could provide. But at the same time would kind of help Ella to be able to share what she knows, her culture, what she loves with her new community. And food for us was the obvious choice. So we started to develop this program. Jessica, who you're going to speak with in the future, developed a training program that's around 300 hours. And the idea is that in these 300 hours, 4 women at a time learn the technical skills, so the cooking skills, but also the non-technical skills, so the soft skills, cultural competency, how to write a CV, how to have a difficult conversation with the future employer, knowing their rights. So really all of the things that are going to help them not only get that job, but stay successful in that job and kind of become future leaders in their community where they can become mentors also to other women. So this is kind of our purpose and our mission. And during the COVID pandemic, we obviously had to change our plans a little bit because last spring when we were ready to start, we weren't able to start in the kitchen. So, but we knew that a lot of women in our demographic that we were working with were seamstresses in their home countries. So instead, we started employing women to sew face masks from home last April. And so that turned out to be a blessing in disguise because now we have both programs. We have the culinary and the seamstress program. And I'm really excited about what we've been making already, but also when we open Roots and maybe even this summer, we'll have some really cool merchandise to sell that will be sewn by the women.
Wow, amazing. So tell me how is the capacity? So how many women can participate in the next batch of your program?
Yeah, so the program is set up to train 20 women per year. So 4 women at a time for a period between 3 and 4 months. On May 4th, so we start with the first 4 women, who are 4 women from Nigeria and Ghana. They're young. The average age is like 23 years old. And all of these women are really passionate about food. They want to work in restaurants or open their own restaurants one day. The seamstress program so far has worked with about 9 women. And we're hoping to, that was in 2020, so we're hoping to increase that this year too in 2021.
Wow. So how big is your team? Because you mentioned yourself, you mentioned Jessica, but how can you run this only the two of you?
No, that's a good question. So we have a board of directors with 8 people. We chose these individuals because they all have really different backgrounds and competencies. So we have kind of finance people, we have consultants, we have events people, we have chefs like Jessica, lawyers. So they all kind of step in and to try to provide some real quality in the way we manage the organization. That's important to us. And then we also work with young people and volunteers. So interns who are studying at Unimore, usually communications interns, will manage our social media. We work with the Scuola Alternanza Scuola Lavoro, so experience for high school students. Last year, or in January, we did a week-long project with 20 students who are studying languages in Modena. And then we have also volunteers. I'm really excited because next month we're going to be launching our volunteer skill building program. So other migrant women who have experience are actually going to be lending their knowledge and creating custom kind of empowerment-based workshops for our women on different topics like basic household finance, how to write a CV, practice interviewing, things like that.
That's amazing. So you have loads of things planned for the next few months in 2021. Amazing to hear, and I can't wait to be in Italy and hopefully join one of the sessions myself. So we kind of covered your milestones. How do you see? But I wanted to ask, because you are not originally from Italy. How is it for you to run an association like this there? How did you find the collaboration options, and how do you see the other initiatives in your ecosystem contributing to the success of yours?
Yeah, that's a really cool question. So at first, when I moved to Italy, I think like any new arrival to any country, I wasn't really confident about what I would be able to do. I didn't speak Italian very well. I didn't have connections. I had experience working with migrant women in the United States, with Latino women in 2 different nonprofits. But when I first came to Italy, I really didn't think I would be able to use that. And I really wasn't sure how relevant my experience was working with a completely different community. And so it was a little bit making good connections that kind of helped me to understand, but also built my confidence, to say that just because nobody else was doing it necessarily the same way I was doing it doesn't mean it wasn't valuable. Maybe that was actually a value added. So that was an important thing for me for my own kind of growth journey, and to be able to take this leap of faith and just keep going. But yeah, the ecosystem has been so crucial because when we developed AIW, we didn't want to replicate existing services, and we really wanted to be kind of holistic in the way we were thinking about these individuals who are coming through our program. So knowing that women, you can't just work on giving them a job, for example, not always, because then there are other factors that might not allow them to keep that job. Like maybe they have an undue burden of household chores or family to take care of, or other things going on in their lives. So we're trying to think about the whole system, specifically to also be kind of a safety net for them. So we work with other nonprofit partners like Caritas Modenese, like Gruppo Donne Archigay Modena, like many other organizations who are we're able to refer our women when they might have something else happen in their life and need some other support that we don't provide. At the same time, from the kind of community and social change perspective, we know that these women won't be able to integrate and won't be able to be successful in their jobs if there's kind of xenophobia and discrimination towards them. So we're also trying to change the community's perspective about what these new arrivals can offer, showing really the value that they bring, and hopefully creating more diversity within restaurants and within companies, and more kind of multicultural acceptance throughout Modena. So in that perspective, working with young people is so important. That's why we like to do the high school student program, because we believe it really starts there. But we also work with, for example, the public administration, who's trying to meet similar goals as a partner to them. So I hope I answered that question.
Yes, definitely. And that actually brings me to one of the points. One of the challenges on your bootcamp, and also this time, was about how can we use food. So what is food diplomacy, and how can we have an influence on policy making? And if the public administration is joining your forces, by joining forces with you to make this work, then I do feel that maybe food or these angles can make some change. So that's amazing to hear. I think many other cities and regions and countries could make use of such initiatives. So we are approaching the end of our conversation, and I always have one final question I ask from everyone. And here you can think very utopistic, so you can disregard all of the boundaries we have right now, or you can go more realistic. But how do you imagine your preferred food future?
Yeah. I think that, well, for me, my preferred future is one where everyone can be really proud and keep their heritage and keep their culture. And I think food is such an important part of that. I would love children of migrants growing up in Modena to grow up Italians as they do, but to also grow up with one foot in their home countries, still with a love of their cultural heritage, which includes food, and maybe go on, and hopefully some of our women to go on to open businesses, open food businesses. I would love to see, you know, a Ghanaian stand at our local city market in Modena one day. This, for me, would be the ideal future.
I really like that. And I think it can happen. I mean, I'm based in Berlin, and I know it's a rather like a bit more diverse environment, but here you can also see market halls in districts which are not necessarily diverse so much, and you can see those. Maybe it's first only a table, but then eventually they take over a booth, and then like it can by time evolve. So I am very excited to see the evolvement of your association and see all this result and live in that future, what you just pictured for us. I would like to thank the audience and yourself to be with me for the past 20 minutes, and we will stay in touch. And for the audience, if you dialed in too late, don't worry, the conversation will be posted on IGTV right now.
Thank you so much, Julia. It was lovely speaking to you. Thanks for all the
Yes.
work you're doing, and looking forward to connecting soon in the future.
Yes, yes, in Italy in the summer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Bye.
Bye.